Gurave Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuya eva cha Patyanam Kavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In his commentary on Vedanta Sutra called Govinda Bhashya, Baladev Vidyabhushan describes that there are three groups of devotees. First, devotee is a Sanishta devotee. He explains that the Sanishta devotee is a bhakta, it's a devotee who worships Krishna, but for such a devotee, social conventions are more important than his or her bhakti. So internally, he has some desire to perform Krishna bhajan, but externally, he's still like in a society, very much influenced, okay, what the neighbor will say, what the parents will say. Its social life is more predominant than the devotional life. That's a Sanishta Bhakta. And then the second category of devotee is called Parinishta Bhakta. That devotee has a firm faith and actually doesn't care about social conventions, but still lives in a society and performs social obligations and social duties. In the context of, let's say, Hindu culture or Indian culture, that means Varnashram. And both of these devotees are Grihastas. And then Baladev Vidyabhushan makes a specific point why Parinishta Bhakta performs his duties. It is only to set the example for others and to attract others to devotional principles. He does not need, he doesn't depend on any rules and regulations, but only to set the proper example for others to follow. And that's the only reason why a Parinishta Bhakta performs his or her social duties. And then the third category of devotee is called Nirapeksha, and that is a sannyasi. And then sannyasi is actually not obliged to follow any social conventions. And this such a person can do whatever he wants, more or less. He's not obliged, he's avaduta. He's not obliged. But what I want to stress is this second category of devotee, the devotee who has strong taste, strong sadhana, strong Krishna bhakti, but still performs his social duties only to attract others and only to set the example for others. So we have the same case here. In the previous verses, there's a very loving exchange between Chaitanya and some of his followers. Chaitanya is indicating that, like for example, he says in verse 25, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, although I am in the renounced order of life and Damodar is a brahmachari, he still keeps a stick in his hand just to educate me. According to Damodar, I am still neophyte as far as social etiquette is concerned. Therefore, he does not like my independent nature. And in verse 27, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Damodar Pandit and others are more advanced in receiving the mercy of Lord Krishna. Therefore, they are independent of public opinion. As such, they want me to enjoy sense gratification, even though it is unethical. But since I am a poor sannyasi, I cannot abandon the duties of the renounced order, and therefore I follow them strictly. So, you see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, independent of any rules and obligations, but because he lived in this world, he still had to follow the rules and regulations of his sannyas ashram, which are actually very, very strict. And on the end of the purport, Prabhupada's last sentence is very nice, how he ends the purport. He says, unfortunately, as long we are within this material world, we must observe social customs to avoid criticism by the general populace. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire. So you can see on one hand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being fully independent, but still, in a way, confined to follow the rules of sannyas. And again, why I brought this principle, these three different categories, devotees, to understand why we need to follow rules and regulations of the society, just to set the proper example. You have the same principle in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter. Krishna is indicating, yad yad acharati shreshta tat tat evatara jana sayat pramanam kurute lokastatan vartate. Whatever example a great person says, that ordinary people follow. And again, in Sanskrit there are two different terms that you can use for following examples of different people. There is anusara and anukara. Anu, does somebody means what means anu?
Small.
Can mean small, can mean following in the context that, can mean following. What comes after following? Like anusara, and sara means the essence, following the essence. And anukara means following the behavior. In other words, imitating. So there are two things. You can follow somebody's instructions and you can just imitate, or you're not qualified. So this is an example that, and you can feel you can see in commentaries of the Gita that acharyas are putting words into Krishna's mouth. They're paraphrasing. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, people in the future will see that Arjuna abandoned his duty, so they will just say, if Arjuna did it, I just do it. You might be qualified, but they will not be qualified, and they will just say, because Arjuna did it, I can also abandon my duties. And this is called anukarana, just imitating, not following the essence, not following. And in the Gita, Krishna explains what's actually the true meaning of renunciation. That's not renouncing action, but renouncing the fruits of action. And such a person he calls him Nitya Sannyasi. So this is an important thing. So here we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still emphasized this point. And throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see how much Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually aware of his social circumstances, aware of his social milieu, or social background, where he was born. That was 15th century Bengal. It's different than 21st century London, certainly different. Do you remember why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas? What are the reasons for him accepting sannyas?
So the people would take him seriously.
So the people will take him seriously? Because at that point, actually Vaishnavas in Navadvip are a minority group. Shakta, which is still very much dominant religion in Bengal, worshippers of Durga, Chandi, Manasa, different cults were much more prominent. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Vaishnava. He instituted something new that Vaishnavas didn't do before. Like you see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Charkazi is complaining, no, the Vaishnavas are coming to streets and chanting the holy name. This is something new. And Brahmanas were objecting to this. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a very charismatic person and he was attracting people. And he was attracting people, that means that people are not coming to them. And the high circle Brahmanas were complaining. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching Sanskrit in his school. This was very customary for, he was born in a Brahminical family and he was a Sanskrit scholar, so he taught Sanskrit. But because he was very emotional, he would sometimes just lose his external consciousness and just be a Krishna Bhakta. And students started to criticize him. And therefore he said, I'll accept sannyas, just the people will respect me.